Hi, thanks for joining me for today's devotion. From Genesis chapter 18. The Lord said to Abraham, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great and their sin so grievous that I will go down and see if what they have done is as bad as the outcry that has reached me." Abraham replied, "What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous people in it?" The sins in Sodom and Gomorrah were grievous, the Lord said. Sexual sins, especially homosexuality and rape, were so common and so blatant that there was an outcry from the people who passed through the cities. And the sins of the flesh there were symptoms of the rebellion in their hearts. God gives us all a time of grace in this life, but the sin and wickedness in Sodom and Gomorrah had grown to a point where something had to give. Abraham's nephew, Lot, and his family lived in Sodom. And Abraham said, "Lord, if there are 50 believers in Sodom and Gomorrah, will you spare those two cities?" "Yes," said the Lord. But Abraham kept pressing. "What about 45, 40, 30, 20, 10?" Abraham prayed humbly. He said, "I'm nothing but dust and ashes." But he kept at it. He prayed persistently. Does he sound like a little child asking again and again like that? That's no accident. He knew he was a child of his heavenly Father. We want to be able to pray boldly and persistently like Abraham did. We might think that the way to do it is just get after it. Just target the weak spots in our prayer life and say, I'm just going to have to buckle down and try harder. But that's not really the secret to a stronger prayer life, is it? The secret is to remember that through faith in Jesus, we are God's own dear children. And as his children, we know what every dearly loved child knows. 1, we can ask our Father for anything. And 2, he will always give us what's best for us. God didn't answer Abraham by sparing Sodom and Gomorrah. He destroyed the cities and spared only Abraham's nephew, Lot, and Lot's immediate family. But do you think Abraham was disappointed in this answer? The reason for Abraham's persistent praying in the first place was not to offer advice to God that he hadn't thought of before. Abraham wasn't praying so that Abraham could have his way. With his persistent praying, Abraham was opening himself up to God's instruction. He was bringing himself in line with God's will. And what did Abraham learn? For one thing, he learned that God really does hate sin, and he really does punish sinners. But Lot and his family were spared, and so Abraham also learned that the same judgments of God that mean death and destruction for unbelievers often mean deliverance for his children. It's always been that way, and it always will be. The same floodwaters that destroyed the world lifted Noah and his family above the destruction. But whether God is judging or rescuing, we can always put ourselves and others in his hands through prayer and know that he will do what is best. So, as God's dear child, pray persistently. Behind every answer to every prayer is the divine, loving smile of the God who gave his Son for you and me. And what was true for Abraham is also true for us. The Lord loves to hear and answer our prayers. See you next time.